Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Today we're going to be making a berry cobbler. Kind of like a 4th of July cobbler, something that we used to make a lot on our camping trips when we had all the foster children. We had a camping spot that we reserved for about 7 years, 8 years in a row. Most oftentimes we would make a peach cobbler, and mostly because that was my father's favorite. And then sometimes we made a berry cobbler, which was like a red, white, and blue. So you melt a stick of butter in a Dutch oven. Now if you were cooking it outside in the Dutch oven, you would be using charcoal to cook with. But since it's just a few of us here, I'm just going to cook it in a cast iron skillet and throw it in the oven. So right there is 1 stick of melted butter. And this is our cobbler mix. I'm going to read you the ingredients. What you're going to need is the 1 stick of butter, 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar. Now I used 1 cup of Splenda. The baking kind, you need 1 tablespoon of baking powder, about a half a teaspoon of salt, and about 1.5 cups of milk. You may need to make it a little thicker, or you might want it a little thicker, I should say, or maybe you want it a little thinner, and if you do, you just simply add a tiny little bit more milk. It's a little bit thicker than I'd say pancake consistency, but pretty close to that pancake consistency. And then I'm doing I have about 1 cup of strawberries sliced. Probably not going to use all of them. I saved a few back just in case I don't need them. And then about a half a cup of fresh blueberries from here on the homestead, and Louisiana strawberries. Now both of these were in the freezer and they were frozen, so they just thawed out just enough to slice the strawberries. And you're going to dump your batter into the cast iron skillet, and I'm going to stop y'all for a second and go ahead and do that and move to the next step. Okay, so I'm only doing this with 1 hand, so I didn't get the camera out. So I have it in the skillet. I have the oven set at 350, and it's going to cook for about 40 minutes. Now if you were doing this outside, you would need about 10 to 12 of the briskets on the bottom and about 18 to 20 on the top, and it will cook for about 45 minutes to 60 minutes. And unfortunately it's yucky and rainy today as well, so I wasn't going to be able to do it outside, which is what I have wanted to do. But either way, we're still going to do our 4th of July cobbler, and you want to keep turning this cobbler. Even in the oven, I'd say turn it every 10 minutes or so. And most definitely if you were cooking outside with charcoal with the briskets, you would have to turn it about every 10 minutes so that it doesn't burn on one side or the other, so that it cooks more evenly. So we dump the batter in there on top of the melted butter, and then we're going to put it in the oven for about 40 minutes on 350. But before we do that, we have to decorate it with our strawberries and our blueberries, and I'll bring you right back for that. And doesn't that look beautiful? You can decorate yours any way that you want. So this is going to be our red, white, and blue cobbler. Great for any patriotic holiday. And if you wanted to use peaches, you just will set the peaches on top. Now I will let this bake for about 40 minutes, and I will check it and see if it's ready. If not, I'll let it go for another 15 minutes or so, just depends. I like mine a little crispy around the edges. And then we'll pull it out. And the one last step is you can sprinkle cinnamon on top, and it just brings all the flavors together. It just makes it taste wonderful. It's excellent on the peach and also on the berry cobbler. So about 10 minutes before I know it's ready, I'm going to sprinkle about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon very lightly over the top. And then I'll bring you back when it's all done and show you how we're going to enjoy this. Oh my, our berry cobbler is out of the oven and it looks delicious. Now we still got a few hours to go before we have our 4th of July meal, grilling up some stuff and some veggies. So this is going to be our dessert for after we eat our supper tonight. So I'm not going to plate it up and show you what it looks like. But as you know, cobbler is absolutely delicious with Cool Whip topping or vanilla ice cream. And that just brought back memories. We made some homemade vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream, a gallon of both, for Father's Day weekend. And I am so excited. I have a bunch of vanilla ice cream left. And oh my, this is going to be wonderful. And of course, I have an old ice cream maker. It's not the hand crank, but it works the same way, and it's electric. Oh, it's probably about 25, 26 years old. But it brought back childhood memories of the 4th of July with my grandpa. He was most definitely the glue of the family. We often, for the 4th of July, visited campgrounds or even went camping. I believe he had a homemade camper made from a Klein Peter milk box truck. I believe that's right. It may have been a different type of box truck, but I'm pretty sure it was, or could have been, because my great aunt's husband, his brother-in-law, was one of the people that worked for the milk company. Well, you know, it might not have been Klein Peter. It might have been Borden's back then. Can't remember. But anyway, pretty sure he got a good deal on a box truck, and he turned it into a camper. And I can remember going to the lake, swimming, going to the river, going to a creek, always doing something in the water, even visiting some of our parks around here. Back then, believe it or not, some of the parks that people still see today in our area actually used to have what they called a wading swimming pool. It was only about knee deep, and that was the thing to do. Everyone went there with their kids and their family and went to the wade pool at the park and cooled off for the 4th of July. Now, I also remember going to his house for the 4th of July and having a huge family get-together. All sides of the family, all cousins, aunts, uncles, you name it, the whole crew. And my grandpa was the light of the show, always cracking jokes, making everybody laugh, having fun. And yes, we all cranked on that ice cream machine so we could all have some homemade ice cream. And I also remember, this thought just came to mind, when we would have all those watermelons, we'd have a couple of them and he'd just cut them wide open on the picnic table. Everybody go grab a big piece of it, had the watermelon dripping down your chin, all over your face. It was wonderful. It was cold, it was refreshing, and it's an amazing memories that we had from growing up here in the South, dealing with the heat. And he always told us kids, y'all don't swallow them watermelon seeds, because if you do, you'll have a watermelon plant growing out your ear. And oh my gosh, that was a scary thought when we were young kids. And then as we got older, we just laughed at him, said ha ha paw paw. But still, it was fun. So, what are some of your family happy memories or childhood family traditions that you still carry on today for the 4th of July? I would love to hear about them in the comments. So, I hope everyone has a safe and blessed Independence Day and a happy 4th of July. Please be safe, stay aware, stay alert, be careful and cautious traveling to and from your fireworks show destinations. So farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.